Have you ever stopped to think about why you do the things you do? I mean, really think about it. Our own mind is often the biggest puzzle there is. So in this explainer, we're going to pull back the curtain a little. We'll give you a practical toolkit based on real psychology to help you navigate your everyday life just a little bit better.
Okay, let's get real for a second. Have you ever gotten absolutely furious at someone for cutting you off in traffic, and then you do the exact same thing 5 minutes later? Or maybe you've been 100% certain about something, only to find out you were totally, completely wrong. Yeah, these aren't just random quirks. They're predictable patterns. And once you start to understand them, you get a much clearer picture of yourself and, well, everyone else too. So here's how we're going to break it down. First, we'll dive into your brain's hidden settings. Then we'll talk about making smarter choices. After that, we'll get into the art of connection. And we'll finish up with a super practical toolkit for daily life. Ready? Let's go. All right, first up, let's look under the hood. You can think of your brain as having some pre-installed software. These are cognitive biases that are just running in the background, influencing pretty much everything you think and do, often without you even noticing. So let's start with the big one, the Dunning-Kruger effect. Put simply, it's this strange glitch in our thinking where people who aren't very good at something are also really, really confident that they are good at it. It's like they're too unskilled to even see their own lack of skill. This quote just nails it, doesn't it? Those most incompetent are the least aware of their own incompetence. The very thing they lack, knowledge, is what they'd need to recognize that they lack it. It's a total paradox.
And you've definitely seen this play out in real life. You know, that family dinner where someone starts holding court, speaking with absolute authority on a subject they know next to nothing about. Yep, that is the Dunning-Kruger effect, live and in person.
Okay, next up on our brain's hidden settings tour, confirmation bias. This is basically our brain's tendency to play favorites. We don't just gather information like neutral scientists. Nope, we actively go hunting for any piece of evidence that proves we were right all along. And we tend to ignore anything that suggests we might be wrong.
You see this all the time with how we consume media. When we flip on a certain news channel or visit a favorite website, a lot of the time we're not just looking for information. We're looking for agreement. We want someone to confirm what we already think is true.
So it's not just about what we believe. It's also about what we pay attention to. And our brains have this built-in alarm system that is just way more sensitive to bad news. It's called the negativity bias. We are basically hardwired to focus on the bad stuff way more than the good stuff.
And get this, the ratio is pretty staggering. It's 5-to-1. Research shows that it literally takes 5 positive things to balance out the emotional weight of just one negative thing. It's why one little criticism can stick with you all day, even if you got 10 compliments. It's just a mental hurdle we all have to deal with.
Okay, so we know our brains have these, let's call them quirks. So what do we do about it? How can we get around them? Let's move on to section 2 and figure out how we can use psychology to actually make smarter, better decisions. This brings us to something called Solomon's paradox. It's wild. When we're looking at our own problems, right, they feel so emotional, so complicated, and we're totally biased. But when a friend comes to us with the exact same problem, suddenly we're rational, we're clear-headed, and the solution seems so simple. Turns out we are much better at giving advice than taking it. So how do you hack this for yourself? Well, the trick is to create some distance. The next time you're stuck on a problem, just take a step back and ask, what would I tell my best friend if they were in this exact situation? Thinking about it from that third-person view helps strip away the emotion and leads to a much wiser choice.
And here's another trick. And this one is kind of weird, but it works. Studies have found that if you think through a tough decision in a foreign language, you're likely to be more rational. Why? Because it slows you down. It forces your brain to use its more logical, deliberate systems instead of just going with a gut emotional reaction. Now, this next one is totally counterintuitive. Having a backup plan. It seems like the responsible thing to do, right? But some research suggests that just knowing you have a plan B can actually make your plan A less likely to succeed. Because when we know there's a safety net, we just don't go all in. Our motivation takes a little hit.
All right, we've spent some time looking inward at our own minds. Now let's flip the camera around and look outward. Because understanding psychology is also absolutely key to navigating our social world and building better relationships. This leads us to a massive one. It's called the fundamental attribution error. It's our default setting for judging people. When someone else messes up, we tend to blame their character. They're just a lazy person. But when we mess up, oh, we blame the situation. I was just having a bad day. Let's go back to that traffic example. Someone cuts you off, and your immediate thought is, what a jerk. But when you do it, you've got a perfectly good reason. I'm late for an important meeting. We give ourselves the benefit of the doubt, but we rarely extend that same courtesy to others.
Now, what's truly incredible is that our beliefs about other people don't just stay locked inside our heads. They can actually go out and shape reality. This is called the Pygmalion effect. Basically, when you have high expectations for someone, it can actually lead to them performing better. It's a real self-fulfilling prophecy. There was this famous study, right? Researchers went into a school and told teachers that a few randomly chosen students had high potential. And by the end of the year, guess what? Those exact students showed major improvements. It wasn't magic. The teacher's belief in them changed how they treated them, how they encouraged them, and it unlocked potential that was there the whole time. Our expectations are that powerful. All right, for our last section, let's get super practical. I want to give you a few simple psychological tricks you can pop into your toolkit and start using, like, today.
So let's say you're trying to get a teammate to get started on a project. If you say, do this, it sounds like a command, and people can get defensive. Instead, try saying, start with this. Psychologically, that frames the whole thing as a small, easy first step, which makes it way less intimidating and much more likely to actually get started. Trying to be more memorable? You can use something called the serial position effect to your advantage. Our brains are just wired to remember the first and last things in a series much better than what's in the middle. So if you have a job interview, try to be the first or the last person they see that day. And hey, don't beat yourself up if you always forget the stuff in the middle of your grocery list. It's not you, it's just how your brain works. So we've uncovered some of our brain's hidden biases, we found ways to make smarter choices, and we've explored the psychology behind connecting with others. The big takeaway here is that understanding these little quirks of the mind isn't just interesting trivia. It gives you more control. It lets you be more intentional. So I'll leave you with this question. Now that you know a little more about how your brain works, what's one bias you're going to watch out for tomorrow?